This is Tom Lewis for Bostonist, talking to Tom Everett Scott, a star of film and television, and he's in town to talk about Southland, which premieres on TNT next week on the 12th, and he's here for a big promo party for the show. And he is from the Boston area and has spent a lot of time here. And welcome back to town.
Thanks so much. It's nice to be here. Yeah, it's great to be back home.
When you say back home, where do you mean exactly? Did you live in Boston for any time?
No, I never lived in the city. I grew up in East Bridgewater, Massachusetts, which is about 35 minutes south. It's right next to Brockton. Pretty much grew up, going to Sachem Rock a lot. Not Sachem Rock. That's weird. No one would know what that is. That's in East Bridgewater. That's the rock that's in our town where, the Pilgrims traded, some blankets for, the land, So no one would know what that is. What I meant to say was Plymouth Rock, which is, we would go to both. We had our own rock. To me, it's great coming back here because I never really get to come back. I don't really know the city that well because I grew up outside of it. My dad worked in Boston, and me and my three sisters, we'd come and visit him in the city, he'd bring us to work. He worked for the state transit department, the Mass Transit Department. He would, not transit, transportation. He designed bridges and highways. He was a civil engineer. And it's so weird because I used to steal signs, with my friends. We'd pretend our car broke down, and we'd be up there, taking the stop signs down. And he found the signs, and I didn't get in trouble or anything. He just said, "Do you know what I do for a living? This is ridiculous." So coming back is great. I'm a huge Boston sports fan. I think the last time I was here, I probably got to see a Red Sox game. I get the baseball package in LA, and that's kind of how I stay in touch by watching just games and feeling I'm in Fenway, but it's not the same thing. Also a huge Celtics fan. I got to remember to pick up a couple shirts for my kids. They want some Celtics shirts, so I got to do that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And did you come into town quite often to sit in Fenway?
You know what? Not enough. I remember when I was 6, my dad took me to a game. They played the Milwaukee Brewers. They lost. I got hooked right there. My dad gave me the program and said, go down to the dugout. We were on the first baseline side, and he said, go down to the dugout, get some autographs. And I handed it off to a baseball player, and I said, can you get George Scott's autograph for me? Because he was the only guy. He had the same last name as me. His nickname was Boomer, and that was really exciting to me because I was 6. And I was like, can I get Boomer's autograph? And the guy said, well, why don't you let me sign it too? I said, okay, that's great. So I went back up to the seat, and my dad said, Jim Rice signed your program. Oh, my God. I was like, who? That was pretty cool. And then I think that was it. And I think I went to one other game with my cousin and my grandfather. And after that, it was, go on my own.
Do you have that program framed somewhere?
Yeah, I have no idea where that program is. That's the sad thing. I used to have it, but who knows where it is.
Priceless memorabilia.
That's horrible, isn't that? That's horrible. We don't even live in that house anymore, so it could be anywhere.
It's in a box somewhere in the attic, and someone else owns the house.
I'm gonna have to make somebody go through some boxes. Yeah, get one of my people on that.
So, living in Los Angeles, what are some big differences between or living in Southern California? Not to assume you're in Los Angeles proper, but what are the things you enjoy the most out there, and what are the things you miss the most about living here?
It's a really different place, and honestly, I left Massachusetts when I was 18. I went to college at Syracuse. I pretty much went right to New York after that. I lived in New York for about 9-10 years. I feel like living in Massachusetts is just really a memory. I mean, it's a really long time ago. It's a very special place for me. But more than anything, I would probably compare LA to New York. It was where I've been the last almost 18 years. But LA is a completely different place, and I was miserable at first because I kept trying to make it like an East Coast place, and it's not. But once you get to know what's good out there, like the beach and the mountains and those kind of things, and actually take advantage of them, it's okay. But you don't have like nice neighborhoods. You wind up like meeting other East Coast people and bonding with them for some reason, even though California people are nice too.
Now, so you spend a lot of time, you're in a lot of outdoors time kind of thing, and that can't be that easy there, right?
Well, I mean, you know, I have a couple kids, and we like to go, you know, like ride our bikes outside. You can do that almost every day of the year, unless it's raining, you know. But I'm having trouble getting my kids out of the house. They don't ever want to play outside. They'd rather play like Legos or video games. I mean, I've got a real problem on my hands. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got to bring them back here and treat them to some winters. And
They would love this. I sent them. I already emailed them a picture from my iPhone. I mean, this is beautiful. There's snow on the ground, and yeah, that's pretty cool. They're dying to see some snow. My mom, who lives here, she lives in Holden, Mass. She came out to visit for Thanksgiving, and she told my kids. She said, you know, she told my other nephews, her other grandchildren, how to make it snow. You take spoons and put them under your pillow. You put ice cubes in the toilet, and you wear socks on your hands when you go to bed. So, you know, she leaves, she goes back home, and it wasn't even like the next night. It was like several nights later. My son, he's 5, he remembered this, and he was like, I want to do what Nana said. I want to make it snow. And I'm like, you know, we live in Los Angeles. It's really not going to happen. But he was really determined. So we did it. We did all those things. I mean, you know, we were finding spoons under our pillows for days afterwards. He put ice cubes in the toilet, and he put socks on his hands to go to bed that night. And then it just so happened that, like, he couldn't sleep for 2 hours. And I thought it was because he was excited about the snow. It's because he sucks his finger when he goes to bed. I didn't even think of that. My wife's like, take the socks off your hands. And he was like, oh. Yeah, right out. The next day, I swear, was one of the coldest nights we had all year. There was ice on the cars. There was snow in the mountains that you could see. And he thought he did it. Well, he probably did, you know, but he had the biggest smirk on his face. It was hilarious. Perfect. Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll save a cup, a Ziploc bag of
I know, we should have shaved some of the ice off the car and like put it in the freezer.
Well, from here, we'll get a Ziploc bag and you can bring it back with you.
Yeah, we'll just put it with the program that Jim Rice signed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, thanks so much for talking with us. We're looking forward to seeing you in Southland on TNT and seeing more of you on Sons of Anarchy and elsewhere on TV and film.
Thank you.